Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone
Hello.
here. Hi, everyone on the replay. Welcome to Beam Me Up Book Club. My name is Tiffany, and I am here with, I always try to point in the right way. I did it
I
right.
know. I'm Ava. Let me tell you, you're on my iPad because I'm eating dinner. If it would stay straight, goodness. I can see.
There you go. You got it.
It's sliding. Oh well. I'm Ava from Ava's Romance Books.
Hi.
Yes.
We are very, very excited to talk about The Horde King of Shadow by Zoey Draven. We did a Horde Kings of Dakari like read along last year. And so this is her new spin-off. I feel like we've picked a lot of Zoey Draven for this book club. Our very first book club pick was her very first book. So I feel like we've gotten a good, like, just breadth and range of her writing. And so we thought about what we would do for the first 2025 read. We picked Zoey again. So
Of
I'm very
course.
happy that we did. Definitely ties into that read along. So
Hmm.
talk about things in the beginning of this live kind of broadly, but there will be spoilers. If you are here with a replay, thank you so much for being here. There is a playlist of all of our book clubs on my channel, so you can go back through that. If you haven't read the Horde Kings of Dakari series and you want to like read along with that, you can do so. But I had a good time with this one. I'm interested in hearing your thoughts because we checked in when we were like picking it up, and I was like, okay, when she's picking it up, I'm gonna pick it up. So it's fresh for both of us, which I think is the best way. Like I think it's
Hmm.
the best way. But this definitely directly ties to Horde Kings of Dakari series, but I do think it's its own standalone book.
Yeah.
We'll get into that. It's called Horde King of Shadow. However, this is the first sort of like we're not with the Dakari, we're with the Carrick, which is interesting. So it's a new language, new culture, new belief
Hmm.
system, and most importantly, dragons. There are
Yeah.
dragons in this book.
Dragons.
And it's set 200 years into the future. So a few tropes. I mean, we're dealing with, I would say it's not marketed as such, but it does feel like a fated mate's tale. It's forced marriage.
Yep. Yep.
And what else are we dealing with? Definitely forced marriage. Definitely forced proximity.
Um, like a grumpy stoic hero.
Yes, brew tea. Okay,
Hmm.
Rudy.
Hmm.
She's working for it. I'm
There, there's forced proximity. The hero literally has to tie a cord around their ankles every single night to sleep next to each other, even when they're not like sleeping together. You know what I mean? Like they sleep next to each other, and he literally has to tie a cord because she sleepwalks and has almost killed herself.
Yes, and this is definitely a royal romance as well
Oh,
because
yep, yep.
heroine Clara is a princess. Kind of how do I describe her situation? Because I really, really like how she's a princess, but she's not beloved. Um,
Hmm.
her, father was in love with her mother, but her mother definitely wasn't a royal. I'll just put it that way. And so she's like a bookish princess running across the region, reading texts and like histories, and is kind of like not really in, oh, we can be not really like taken seriously or beloved. So I
Hmm.
thought it was interesting. And the dragons. And he too, in a way, is sort of like a cast off that's kind of come into power.
Hmm.
So I did like their dynamic.
Yeah.
And I was interested in hearing what are your overall thoughts? Like,
Well, sorry, chewing. Um, um, no, I really enjoyed this one. I was telling Tiffany before the live went live, like I wouldn't recommend this book as a alien romance, like the Horde King books. Hello.
hi,
The Horde
hi.
King books are definitely sci-fi romances, but they do lean more fantasy. I always tell people if you're wanting to get into alien romances, or vice versa, if you love alien romance and want to get into fantasy, the Horde King books are the way to go
Yeah.
because I feel like she melds the sci-fi and the fantasy really well. I feel like this book, I would not recommend it as like this is a fantasy romance.
Yeah, it's a fantasy romance cabal. Like, so
Hmm.
that's totally fine. You can still
Yeah.
we'll probably
Yeah.
get spoilers later, but it's also like a good, like a true spin-off book. Like
Mm-hmm.
anything that you don't really know from the previous series, she's going to reiterate and recap for you.
Yes.
That's like pertinent. So you really can just jump in here with this series. However, like I always say, it just adds that extra like layer. And I think too, another reason for the reason why you can just like jump in is because this isn't the Dakari. The Carrig are completely different people. Okay. And I loved the dragon element. They are dragon riders, and that is a huge threat to Dakar, which is where we meet Clara as a princess, kind of like shut away from her people, and the royal court and anything sort of political. And this is a very, I want to say it's forced marriage because it is, but he does give her a choice. It's marry me or
Yeah.
I'm gonna burn this mother down if you don't. Like
There's no real choice.
I kind of loved it. It's like marry me or I'm burning this mother down. Which one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did the kind
Yeah.
of I liked that. Like the beginning, there's like a prologue when she talks about like the first sighting of a dragon, and then she's
Mm-hmm.
like a writer. And I will just say, at this point, if you haven't read it, it does tie into the Magnus of the Horde King book 3 within Horde Kings of Dakar series. It ties into the book 3 a lot. So like going
Mm-hmm.
back to what you were talking about, like it does feel fantasy. That is the one book within the series, book 3, that I felt is so different from the others. And at the time,
Mm-hmm.
I was calling it paranormal because there are some sort of like witchy elements. There's reasons why they think that the king is mad. He's hearing things, he's seeing things. And we get some pretty heavy tie-ins when it comes to like the third act of book 3 and what really went down, and like how that
Mm-hmm.
ties into like why is it they just did not know that there's an entire community
Yeah.
of dragon riders.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's insane.
No,
Insane.
that
So,
it kind of reminded me a little bit of, if you've read Ice Planet Barbarians, there becomes an Ice Planet spin-off called Ice Home, where there's a whole island
wait,
of a whole island of aliens you didn't know about, and they just show up on the shore, and we're like, where do these come
yeah, I'm like, where do these dragons come from? And they don't ever cross the sea. Ain't nobody seen them. I'm like, what's happening? I'm living. I was telling Avery, I was like, if I had read book 3 like right before, I probably would be like red herring a few things a lot more.
from?
But it does have that feeling of like, oh my gosh, like this is set 200 years into the future. Like, what was the aftermath of all of like the missions and the work that was done in the first series?
Hmm.
Like all of the quest for seeing about like a hybrid. We get like introduced to, of course, human and alien pairings, but this idea that there could potentially be a hybrid, and like we're moving through the map and like learning of other hordes because they're very nomadic. And in this world, it's 200 years into the future, but it also does feel like they've regressed in a way because they're not traveling, they're not nomads. It's this like one royal like court, and they don't travel very much. And so like the dragon element, I have to say, in this book was like, that was top tier for me. It almost took the show over the romance, in my opinion, for me personally. Like I ended up
Hmm.
landing at 4 stars for this book. And I really think that that has to do with like how I felt like it tied into book 3. Her growth as a heroine, being forced to marry the head of the Carrig, and what all that entails in terms of winning over the people, which means that she's got to like link with a dragon and like dealing with differing cultures and differing language. And it's felt because like Ava and I were learning a new language as well. Okay. I had
Hmm.
just got into the Dakari like language. Like I had that down. I didn't need to go like flip flopping through the glossary. Like I was good, knew what things were.
Hmm.
Like you're kind of learning along with her, and the Carrig really aren't warm people. And so that is immensely felt in the demeanor of our hero. That's not checking for love. This is a marriage of duty. It will not be romance. And it was killing me. It was killing me because he's very clear about that. So, oh, it's okay. I was disappointed, to be honest. I was so excited because I love the Horde Kings. I just missed this. Yeah, that is okay. The replay will be here. We'll be getting into spoilers, but I do think if you've read that you're gonna enjoy this a lot. Like book three, Madness of the Horde King, um, because it really ties into that. Oh, hold on. Ava has her headphones, so this kind of happened when we started. She'll be back.
One second, y'all. I'll be right back. I'm trying to figure this out.
Them. But I'm glad that you're here. Like I'm definitely think that she's laying the foundation for like branching out her entire universe, because there are things that are kind of laid out in this. I've read Desire in His Blood and Craving His Blood. Oh, I love that. Me too. So that's her. Is that her Kylor series? Is it? I should have it like sitting here. I was buddy reading those with Lynn from Lynn's Romance Library to see. Yeah,
Okay,
Desire.
I'm back.
Yeah, that's the Brides of Kylor. I like this series. This one's definitely my favorite of the two.
I haven't read that one yet.
It's very good. It's like a historical in space, and these are like berserker
Hmm.
winged alien heroes. And I love that. And that's more of like, I wouldn't say it's a forced marriage. I think she has a lot more agency in terms of like it's a marriage of convenience to pay off like her father's debts that have placed their family in destitute. And like it's a little like darker when it comes to like the fear element of they're vampiric. Okay. The feeding, like it's hot. It's hot. This is also Roy. So I think she does Royal really well. So like I
Hmm.
this is her Kylor.
But
Mm.
I think this book really reminded me of Game of Thrones, but also Avatar without the blue people in them.
Oh my god.
Like, you know
Oh
what
wait,
I mean?
so Avatar with the whole lore of the dragons and how they ride them, how they bond with them, how they're people that like I wouldn't say like just like nomads, but like it's very centered around like their dragons. I loved that. And the fact that now that she's been forced to marry him, they will not respect her unless she's bonded to one. And so we're like
Hmm.
getting a crash course along with her when it comes to the lore and when it comes to like her training and what she has to do to be able to bond with them. And so I loved it. I also liked side characters as she does befriend somebody there. And I did like the sort of like seeds that are kind of planted as to like what we might see in the future, as well as it buttoning up the question of if hybrids are even possible. Like that's a big theme in the first series where we're thinking about like these captive situations with human like brides. Can they reproduce? And like what does that look like? We got more tails. I was so happy with that. And like the discourse around that. And it's definitely like the Carrick are truly like a different people. Like what did you think?
Hmm.
Because I know that when we were doing the read along, we were tracking the chests, like the wedding rituals, the wedding this time, some of the cultural aspects, the rituals. Like, how did you feel about that in this one?
Well, I didn't really see the same. You know what I mean? The same that was in. I did like how he, I guess, like challenged her. I like that aspect of it. Like, we're gonna be talking about spoilers, by the way. Like, that's we talk about
Yeah,
spoilers.
we're gonna talk about the
So, but like when he literally pushes her off the dragon, I was like, what the fuck?
like boom, and she
And they
does
do it. She does it like 20 times.
the death fall.
Hmm.
I was geeked. Like also too, it's a little dubious. I wasn't expecting the sort of dubious nature of like their romance is completely a slow burn, I will say, because it
Hmm.
isn't like they're not even this being a forced marriage that doesn't really happen until like what like 47-50% of the book. That's they don't even get married until that point. And then at that point, there is a sort of like dubious nature of like the first steamy moment between them.
Yeah.
It's like one of like magic inducing. And so
Hmm.
like that was a little like interesting because I don't think we've
Hmm.
had that. I haven't had that with Zoe Draven yet, I don't think. So
Hmm.
that was like a new thing where like it's the magic that's like taking them over to consummate it, and that's that. Also, I did like the idea of like he was very broody. He was very broody. You get his reasons
Hmm.
for why, the backstory in terms of like his shame as a leader and like how in a way he's sort of coerced to get married. And so like I
Mhm.
get that. Homegirl was doing all the work though. Oh my gosh. Like not only is like she's kind of a scholar. So I love how she's like, look, if you're gonna burn this mother down, yes, I will marry you, but I'm also gonna take this opportunity to research. I don't know anything about dragons. I don't know if the other regions know anything about dragons. I'm here to learn. I'm here to research and report. Like I kind of liked her attitude about it. And like she went 10 toes down on this decision and like wants to make good and is really willing to like sacrifice any sort of romance or anything like that because he's very clear with her that this is not about like this isn't romantic how you Dakari feel. This is all duty. Okay, this is practical. Like we need to get these heartstones come into the chat. Again, heartstones are like a big
Um,
thing in this world. And so
yeah,
that
I was
was
gonna
kind
ask about that.
yeah, yeah. That was kind of a big element in terms of like the plot, and I didn't know how I felt about it because I definitely
Hmm.
liked the element of like obviously like the dragons and her kind of training and proving herself for the Horde really worked for me because it worked towards like her arc and character growth. I loved her as a heroine and I thought she was like very compelling to read and like moved things forward. Also, he basically seeks her out because of her abilities, her visions and things like that, and
Hmm.
how she ties into book 3. And so he needs her for the fate of his people. And so like
Hmm.
that's what we're hunting down heartstones up in here. Like that's what we're doing. 200 years later, heartstones are still a thing that everybody wants. It's a resource that everyone's desperately trying to claim.
I know,
And
but why? But that was my thing that I was wondering. Like,
that's
why? What
everybody
is the point?
they're powerful, but we don't like, and they like feed the earth. We don't know how. And like they're somehow used to like create technology, but I wanted a lot more on that too because
Because
I
I
thought,
think the whole time I was like, why? Why are we doing this? What is the point?
and even like saying that like oh like I don't know how they fed into the earth and how they fed the earth and how like the dragons need the heartstones, but why? I just needed a little bit more
Maybe
on
they don't know why. I don't know.
it seemed like a resource that they desperately wanted to control for the protection of all, yet
But how would they use them? What would be the purpose of them using them?
because
What is the
it
purpose?
because we get so many examples of why they don't work. Like we get so many examples of humans and alien species trying to use them for specific purposes and no avail.
Hmm.
And then we have like examples of like regions dying due to heartstones like pulling energy or giving energy. So I don't even think that they know how they work. And so it left me to be like very confused as to like why is this the one thing that we're hunting down as well? Like I can understand like if you have a resource that could be very harmful, you want to like control it, but at the same time too like there were too many red herrings, which is why I was saying like if I had read book 3 before this I would have been like because I definitely was thinking about it. And I think that if you were just looking at like that line of action with her visions and why she's truly there to figure out, because there are very few now, everybody's on the hunt for them, they're super powerful, we don't know how, we don't know why, yet her visions could lead them there, which is why she's the perfect queen for him.
Yeah.
And he's been stalking her all of her life and her people and trying to keep an eye on, their heart stone and all of that. That kind of was weak for me, to be honest with
Hmm.
you. And then I think from 50% on, we were off to the races and running with the
Yeah.
book.
Hmm.
It's just really good from 50% on. But the first 50%, it also within their romance is very slow burn, which in a lot of aspects I enjoyed because it's not insta lovey at all. Like
Hmm.
they both really have to earn it. But I think when it comes to like his disposition of being closed off, he was closed off for far too long. But then
Hmm.
she would fix it with like, giving us scenes of communication, which was like definitely needed. We needed that. So I don't know. He wasn't my favorite hero. I definitely think that she is a very active heroine and she was
Hmm.
like, compelling to read about. And I did have a few red herrings like when it came to
Yeah.
stones, that
Um,
plot, that
because
mystery.
Yeah, I remember in the whole reason they were wanting Heartstones in the Horde Kings of the car series is to beat the Red Fog. That's the
Yeah.
whole point. Whole point. And so I'm like, what is the point now? Like, I don't think that was just, maybe it was described way at the beginning when I wasn't paying attention. You know what I mean? I don't know. But I agree with you. Like, the beginning, it took me a few days to get through 50%. I think I was at like 30%, and I texted you. I was like, hey, I'm at 30%. And you're like, okay, great. I'm gonna start it. And then like the next day you were like, oh, I'm at 50. I'm like, I'm still at 30. I'm like at 35.
I was like, let me push. Yeah, because I'm over here reading the Shattered Bones too. So I was like, let me
Oh yeah, that one looks good. I have that one
so
on
good. So
my
I like
Kindle.
paused it. I'm almost finished. I paused it, got a physical copy of the book. Like it was going that well. And then I was
Mm,
like, let me get because I really felt like I needed to push. I felt like I needed to get to the point where it's like these are
hmm
the reasons for why he's been stalking her, the reasons for why he's forcing this marriage on her, the whole setup of the Carrig, how they're different, the dragons. We get a little bit of that. We get a little bit of an ally in terms of a hybrid alien situation. We get set up. We know we're not marrying for love. Whoop de whoop de whoop. Like I needed to know what the mission was because I too was like, in addition to learning a new language and a new culture and belief system, I too was like, what's the mystery element here? What are we
hmm
trotting around this map for? Because I love a map and I do love a glossary. But at the same time, I'm like, what am I studying up for? Like, is it because had it just been honestly, had this book just been about her needing to bond with a dragon, to bond with her newfound people through this marriage, I would have been okay with that. Like,
hmm
I don't even know if we needed Heartstone Mess, maybe to get him on board, but like that was like running flat for me. And then also, I too, like, I enjoy the fantasy aspect and I think too, I wanted more of her like dream walking and her how the
hmm
dreams worked, how they came to her. Because in although I did rate like the madness of Horde King like 3.5 stars, one thing I think that
Yeah.
she did do well was describe Vienna's dreams, how
hmm
they felt and how they looked. I love that. And also how that affected her bond with him. I thought that that was done really well in book 3 and the Horde Kings of Dakari series. So here, I just wanted a little bit more of that, but it was
hmm
more like descriptive and stuff like that. And I did like one of the last sort of like visions that she had towards the end of the book, but like I wanted a little bit more when it came to like her dreams and visions and the magic, and then like also their relationship was not only a slow burn, it really felt like she was the one active participant because we don't get too much of like we're not getting mutual pining. We're getting more of
Right.
slowly coming to a realization. He's attracted to her, but it's really he's definitely like a king bound by duty. And I really wanted him to soften a lot sooner. So I agree.
Yeah.
I didn't feel their connection. I felt like homegirls out here. I mean, we're getting the training montage. Okay, we're getting the, stripping at the pools to try to like maybe get him into it. We're getting the like appeal to communicate from her. We're getting the like inquisition because she better choose his people and you better tell me all of the truths and what's on your mind, but I'm not giving them back to you. And I do like
hmm
that he even states it. Like, how is this fair? Like, oh, I need to tell you everything I know, but you're not going to tell me anything. Like, I kind of loved when she said that. I was like, okay. Like, he's a very closed off for a lot of the relationship. So he's wasn't my favorite hero, but I'm not going to lie. I like where we landed. I
hmm
like where it went. And
hmm
like I do like that it wasn't insta lovey and that like for both of them, like she was kind of sad about it too. Like I'm not gonna get this like epic romance or whatever. Like I'm gonna do what I gotta do. So I like where it ended up. I just feel like the steps to get there, that the pacing on the romantic connection was a lot slower, especially coupled with like the dubious consent of the steam in the beginning was a little off for me.
hmm
Right? Like
Yeah.
why did Zoe introduce the horrible aunt, but then didn't flesh out? Speak on it. That's such a good point.
hmm
Because what was fleshed out and it wasn't shown. It's told to us through backstory. When we finally get communication between them. He explains the relationship between him and his aunt due to his father. But like that's so true. We get this like epic meeting and we never see her again too. That's a good point. We never see her again. Like we meet
Yeah, I thought there'd be a conflict because when we see her, she's like, "Well, we were supposed to choose someone for you. The council was supposed to choose someone for you." So I'm like, "Oh, is that going to get into play? Is there going to be another woman?" Like,
yeah, nothing. And I get it. Like, I understood like the aunt's reasons for once it was explained to me, but I would have liked to see a little bit more pressure and meddling. Why did she have that much power to
hmm
say that he's getting married too? Like, who are you? Because I'm not seeing I'm not seeing you in the day to day.
hmm
I wasn't seeing his aunt in the day to day. Why did she have that? It was a missed opportunity for sure. Like, why? What was her influence? I understood the shame of, I understood it intellectually, but we didn't really see his shame in that. And like, why shame in terms of like what his father did, like that backstory about like his father and his mother's story, and like, you know, there's like illness in this book, loss of loved ones in this book, like that whole situation there. And even the Heartstones weren't fixing that. So again, we question what's their power and why are we after them.
hmm
That
But
is,
overall, I was very engrossed in this. I was gonna say, like, I think we talked about a lot of negative things that maybe we didn't like or care for, which those are all valid, obviously. But also, like, I was very, like, this morning, I think I woke up with, like, only at 65%, and I finished it in bed when I woke up this morning because I needed to know what happened with her and this dragon and these people and everything. Like, I needed to know. Like, it's very entertaining.
it's very entertaining, it's very compelling. I loved the lore with the dragons and Clara. Like, I loved that. And then also I like the side characters. So I think she does a really good
hmm
job. And I noticed that in the last series that we read of kind of like weaving things in that are going to come to pass later. So I was really committed to her. Oh gosh, I can't get over it. Like her bonding with her dragons and learning to ride is such a big element in this book. It's also a big element of her like proving herself to her husband. And then like it's also a big element of her proving herself to herself because she's very bookish. She hasn't done anything active. And it like showcases a lot of like how he grew up and everything like that. And it's a way for them to like connect because her husband's training her. I keep saying her husband, Sarkin's training her, and you know, like it's a big element. That was my favorite part. Like from 50% the way, like from 50% on, like the book is picking up in terms of
hmm
that really takes stakes to show. And like the third act with that was so cinematic and so much fun. Just the process of what it takes to bond with a dragon. I had so much fun. Like with that, like the way that it looked, the ritual of it all. I thought that was very, very cool. And like also how she kind of like recast it. Like, I'm just to throw it out there, we've said there are spoilers. I thought she was gonna bond right away. I really did. I'm like, this is a girl.
Yeah.
She's getting on the back of that dragon. So I kind of, like literally, because I'm a very animated reader, which is why I need to do it at home. Like no silent for me. I like audibly said like, oh, I like great choice. Like I like that it wasn't that easy for her.
Mhm.
That she had a death fall. Like, and that I also liked that we're getting like relationships between dragons too. That was really sweet to me. I loved
Mhm.
that. I loved that.
Part of me thought that maybe like, oh, the reason why she didn't bond with the brother is because maybe she has to bond with his dragon's mate because they talked about how she didn't have a mate or whatever. But
Mhm.
then no, she was so determined, like, no, that's my dragon. Like, okay, go get it.
I was like, that's so cool. I really liked that because I'm like, yeah, why would she, after people have trained like essentially their lives since they were kids, just get on this like ungettable dragon's back the first time?
hmm
I was really happy that she didn't. I was sad for her, but I was like happy that it didn't work out that way. And then also too, just like the sentient dragon like kind of storyline where like he had reasons. Like maybe I don't want on my back. You know what I'm saying? Like I really liked that. I thought that was really, really
hmm
fun. And it was like just like kind of epic
Yeah.
sort of like resolution.
Um,
How that looked and felt was fun.
yes. And then I do want to mention.
Yeah. I Meet Cute was definitely one of the favorite parts of the book, sadly. The beginning.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, yeah. I the casing the joint situation of him like following her. And I loved that. And also too, it's like they kind of dog walked her royal court, like her region. It was like, we're coming in, we're doing what we want, we're taking what we want. And what? The only reason why we're negotiating is because I have respect for my queen. But like, I was like, dang, like, so what are we what are we doing here? There's a really big element in this book when it comes to the Heartstones that I would have thought would give the Dakari people some like, negotiating power, some like to way to shift their weight around. And it really doesn't. It's like, we're taking this.
Mhm. Um, for those watching, I think I started this book before. I started the book before Tiffany. And anyone else audibly gasped when they learned where the red fog comes from?
Yes.
I immediately had to like voice memo Tiffany and be like, girl, I'm at 8%, and my jaw is on the mother effing floor.
And that's when I was like, oh, I need to start reading this book. I need to start reading this book because I'm kind of like, I'm one of those readers where like maybe I'm putting a little too much into it, but I was very curious. Okay, in book 3, not just like why the red fog was there. What the hell is it? What
Hmm.
is it? Like, what is this element we've never seen? It's taking out crops. Okay, it's a plague. Like, what is this? Like, what is this in this world? I gagged. I gagged.
Yeah.
And I also gagged as to the fact that she's a descendant
Hmm.
of our
A
queen.
book 3 and book 5.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Hmm.
Like I was geeking. And so I liked the beginning, and I was telling I was telling Ava before this. I liked that like kind of moment in the market because obviously like she isn't tied to the castle. And I like this moment where she has in the market where I forget like her friend that's a scholar is like kind of like buying some of the red smoke or like the liquid like smoke or whatever. Or like at least the appearance of such, and she sees a banner. She sees a banner of like the Fantastic Five that that won over the red smoke. And I loved that moment because I could like visually. That's the thing about Zoe Draven. It's like I could give you red herrings, but I do like the way that she describes like a world.
Hmm.
Um and I do like the cultural elements that she brings into it and the kind of the way that she ushers it in. Like we know that it's 200 years in the future because she sees this banner of the characters that we fell in love with in the last series, of all of the women
Hmm.
that won over the red smoke. And it was just like such a fun moment because that's kind of how I feel when I'm reading series. Like I'm like when I see someone's like name mentioned, I'm like, oh my God. So I really
I
I
know her. I
I
know her.
the red smoke being dragon smoke and the fact that they can blow it out and like a dragon could have just come and sucked all that up too. Get out of here.
I know, and I was thinking too about it. I'm like, how was the red smoke continuously going then
Mm-hmm.
in the main series? Like, was there just one dragon with his mouth open for like years? I
Yeah,
don't.
this mage have like control over it. That's why I was like, I'm really glad I didn't
Yeah.
read book 3 before this because I would have been like, I did.
Maybe they can like let it go, like a puff of smoke or something, and it just keeps on going.
I don't know. And like, why hadn't anybody seen the well? Clearly, the mage had like that witch from book 3. Clearly, the mage had seen the
Hmm.
dragons because I'm like, they're not traveling across the sea. Like no one's seen them. We've never, but that therein lies the spinoff series. I guess
I
there
know
it is,
it's gonna fry my brain if I think too hard.
right? So I'm like, but yeah, I was like, wow, okay. And this is why we read books in order. I was like,
True, true.
'cause
Yes, you could read this book as a standalone, but like you're gonna get more out of it. Like we had so many jaw-dropping moments because we've read the other books. So,
yeah, exactly. And I think too, if I really put it that way, because I get such excitement when I finish a book. And I do like her writing. And like you said, it was entertaining. Like I kept reading, especially like 50% the way like in and on and beyond. Like I was going. But
Mm-hmm.
if I was really more interested in like her story than their story, if I'm being
Mm-hmm.
honest. So he wasn't my favorite hero, like Zoe Draven hero, but like I felt compelled to continue to read it. Like I
Oh
got
yeah.
through it fairly quickly in a time where like
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of going through books a lot slower. I think I'm
Mm-hmm.
on like
Same.
I am. I think I have like I think I've read like 6 books this month. Unheard of for
And
me.
that is not bad. That is not bad.
It just is
I,
what it is.
yeah.
Like,
And how many of those are like eyeball books? Did you read with
oh,
your eyeballs?
all but one. I
Yeah,
read
see, a
one
lot of yours are eyeball books. I've
yeah.
that was probably my second eyeball book of the month, and the other one was a novella.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, because
Like, yeah,
I am reading physically.
the eyeball books are taking me way longer to get through. My brain just, I was talking to Zay literally 2 days ago, because every time I would sit down to read this book at night when I'm done with work, I'm snuggled up in with my dog, I fall asleep
Yeah,
after a
it
few
is.
minutes. Like it's not because the book is boring, okay? I would do that with any book, even like a new Sarah J. Maas release. Maybe not that. I don't know. But like even if I was really invested in the book, like I'd zonk out. My body is not the same as it used to be.
Oh,
My fatigue is awful. It is absolutely horrible. I literally think I might have chronic fatigue syndrome, but then I have to think like, no, my chronic illnesses come with fatigue, Avery. Ugh,
yeah.
anyway, so I kept falling asleep and it's taking me forever to read. And
Yeah.
so it's taking me forever to freaking read books because I just fall asleep. But for some reason, if I pick up a novella before bed, I'm like, oh, I can stay awake for 75 pages, but I can't stay awake for 75 pages of a 300-page book.
No, that makes sense to me because you can start and finish something.
Yep.
I used to go to work all day, come home, and you know what time I get off. Come home at midnight
Mm-hmm.
and do an entire video from start to finish, editing and everything.
Yeah.
Have it out by
I
the
don't know
next.
how you do.
I'm not
Uh-uh.
doing today. Like my energy, and I have like my insomnia, which I know that is a serious thing. I'm just gonna be honest here. I've always seen it as like a superpower. Like I've been able to get so much done when I should be sleeping. And like this last year, my energy level is completely different, and I'm like just now learning like how do I still be productive, which I think we live in a society where you get accolades for that, for productivity. How do I still
Mm-hmm.
remain productive and like doing, how do I do the same things I was doing when I wasn't sleeping at this time? It's so crazy. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
with reading for me it's like I'm playing on my Nintendo Switch now.
Yep.
I'm like, I'm like being more active when it comes to like what's in theaters, like personally and like for work, and I'm watching more TV and film now.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to like get a lot more well versed in some of the conversations that I like read scripts. So for that, like I'm doing all that, and then fatigue. I'm dating, so like all that. So it's been like, oh wow, I'm carving out time, but like this book was it was not hard for me to pick up and get through. The beginning half
Yeah.
was a little bit more difficult because I'm like, okay, we're
Yeah.
dealing with different. But I think because of the title, I wasn't expecting the character to be so different and everything like that. So of course,
Mm-hmm.
I loved the beginning of. I loved a captive situation. I love an arranged or a forced marriage. I love how he came in riding upon dragon, like
Yep.
threatening to burn it all down in order to claim her. And then
Yep.
her like fight to like be accepted. I liked her like journey. Wasn't my favorite romance, and because I've read the previous series, I wanted to get into the nitty gritty in terms of red herrings. But I do agree with you. This does feel more fantasy than it does sci-fi for sure.
Oh yeah.
And my biggest question whenever there's a new series is like, am I gonna read the next book? And I'll
Yeah.
be reading the next book for sure.
Yes. I did just think about like I wonder why Zoe decided to do a spin-off instead of just make a whole different series that was just fantasy.
Yeah.
Because she could have done that, but maybe she wanted the title of the Horde King with this because the Horde Kings are so popular.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Be-
I don't know.
I don't know because it's interesting. They're not like they don't speak Dakari, so they're not Voracars. They don't have any like. In fact, it's like almost detestable to him. Not the Horde Kings, but just the Dakar and all of that. Like he's
Mm-hmm.
very adamant about their culture and
Yeah.
their beliefs, and those being disparate from anything that she knows, and that kind of thing. So it is very different. It is
Mm-hmm.
a completely
Yeah.
different. So even the title's a little misleading because he is a Horde King, but he is a Horde King. However,
But
like
not, they don't call it that. Yeah.
no, like he's a leader of his people. He's a
Yeah.
leader, but they don't even operate in those sort of terms.
I feel
Like,
like maybe it should have been like Horde Queen. She
because
was
it's her
queen.
book. It's really her book.
Yeah.
Outside from the expositional dialogue that we get when it comes to his backstory, if we take that out of it, and like, I mean, I did like the scene where they like finally communicate. It really feels like her book. This is
Mm-hmm.
just Claire's book. It really
Yeah.
is. Like the
Yep.
descendant of our faves. Like this is her book and her establishing because she even like not that she upstages him in the end, but like she truly does become his quote unquote equal. And she did come in there outcast, misunderstood, like um they didn't believe in her. Like I just really, really, really liked her arc and I enjoyed him not so much. Their romance and their connection, like I felt like she willed it to happen for
Mm-hmm.
sure. So on the romance
Yeah.
side of it, I'm like, it wasn't, but like it was entertaining to read. And I think that when it comes to dragons on the page, this was a lot of fun. That's how I look at it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm in another
Same.
Zoey Draven. When it comes to dragons, this was a lot of fun. We got another like fierce, strong heroine, but like bookish and in a different way, like determined. And I liked that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like I know him that much. So that's why I keep calling him like Sarkin, her husband. And like
Yeah.
I don't feel like he's distinctive in any sort of way. He was
I feel like
broody
I know.
of, but
I feel like I know more about his dragon than him.
oh yeah, I know all about his dragon. Okay. And like his dragon's like brother. I know more about the
Mm-hmm.
dragons and like their tea. Because they're siblings and they've been separated.
Oh
Like,
my
and
goodness. Okay.
I felt that. I really loved that element. Like I was like cheering
Mm-hmm.
for them and them being reunited. And also
Yes.
the idea that like, okay, so this dragon might have a bond to you, but maybe a dragon doesn't want to ride her. I loved that. It's like we never really think of that. Does this dragon, even though he recognizes a bond to you, he might not want a rider. He might not want to be bound in that sort of way. And it's just like
Mm-hmm.
physically beholden to this connection. But like I loved that. I love that. And like, and there might be tea between him and his sister. You know what I mean? I loved that. I really liked that element of it.
I kept picturing because his dragon is black, so toothless, right?
Yeah.
Toothless, bigger, obviously. And then, have you seen? I know this is niche, but have you seen the Ice Age movie, like Dawn of the
Oh,
Dinosaurs
come
Ice
on.
Age?
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Wait, was it that dragon? No, that's the
Wait,
dinosaurs. There's one with a dragon in it.
there's hold on. My
Which one is the
Are you talking about what they're doing like the live action? They're doing a live action of hold on. I'm gonna try to pull up a picture.
dragon?
Wait.
No, I was thinking of. Maybe I'm thinking of the dragon that's in Harry Potter, the white one. For some
Oh,
reason,
I'm thinking of is it Ice Age? Is it Ice Age? I'm thinking of
I don't know. I think my brain is mush right now. I did my first cardio Pilates class today.
I
That
think I know what
shit
you're
is
talking about.
no joke. No effing joke. I literally came home and made dinner and joined here after that. My brain's mush.
Are you
So,
talking
How to Train Your Dragon does have the white one also,
it
but
is Ice
like
Age,
I'm
but I'm
thinking of like the menacing
like
one.
this one. Hold on, let me see if I can hold them
Is
up.
it the one from How to Train Your Dragon?
No, this is from Ice Age.
Yeah, but that's not the dragon, is it?
I think it's the one from How to Train Your Dragon.
I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of something. Okay, I'm gonna figure it out. Give me a second.
I thought you were talking about that one. Toothless.
I thought of Toothless for the black one.
So cute. I thought of Toothless when I was reading Rebecca Yarros, which
I haven't read those yet. I
I'm not
know.
going to be reading the third. Well, I was like, I went into this whole monologue and I could tell I was monologuing, and I was like, we should really think about this. It's like monologuing about how I'm not going to be reading the third one because I said in the last book, in the second one, that I wasn't going to read the third one. I was like, okay, I read the second book. I don't think I want to continue on. I am very excited about seeing everybody else's glee about it, everyone's
Oh,
breakdowns, like
it's
all of
this.
that
It's
stuff.
from Harry Potter. I was thinking if this one was the her dragon the whole time. Like that's what he looked like.
Oh my God.
You know, I was thinking about that. I don't know why I thought of Ice Age. My
That's
brain is not.
serious.
That's the one that's in Gringotts. The one that's in Gringotts.
Okay, I was laughing because I was thinking of How to Train Your Dragon, and I was like picturing you picturing this, and I was like,
That's for the black one. The black one, yeah. The white one, because hers is white,
yeah,
right?
yeah, and How to Train You exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, and they're like cute. They're siblings. They're so cute.
My sister
Like,
might be
why did
at
I
the
like? I
door.
pictured that, but you said Ice Age, so then I was like, okay,
I don't know why I thought Ice Age. But yeah, like
yeah. I was like, let's
watch,
go.
that's where she got her inspiration
But
from.
truly, Avatar came to mind when they were like bonding. I thought of Avatar.
Oh yeah, and Avatar is one of my favorite movies of all time. Blue Aliens, duh. Like, gonna love them. And that whole scene where he gets his like flying creature, like I love that scene so much. And that was like times 10 in this book.
Exactly. It's so it's like it's very that. And I love how they have to like connect there. I love it. I liked that element of it. That's cinematic.
Mm-hmm.
You could do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to really like showcase the bond.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. But yeah, I'm not going to be bringing reading the third one, but I want to hear what everybody says about it. With the
Are you not a fan of the books?
um the second one I was just kind of like I'm gonna step off here just
Yeah, me too.
because I just kind of feel like I'm like I didn't want to go through. So I mean you can see the difference between them. Like so, I read the first one, met her, she signed this, she's great. I like Rebecca.
Mm-hmm.
You know there are a few things, but like she's always nice to me and meeting her and everything like that. But if you see like the difference between book one and then the length of book two and like what was kind of like done here, for me, I just was like, I don't know if I want to sit through like another 600 pages. Like this was like 3 stars, and I was kind of being generous.
Gotcha.
Like
I
three
haven't
stars
read anything.
for me personally. I was just like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, it didn't have, but I loved the first book. I loved the first
Mm-hmm.
book, of course, jumped to the second book, and then I felt like, okay, I'm just gonna step off here. Like I don't mind hearing like like people's recaps about it. Like I want to hear where the story goes. I don't necessarily need to read it, and that's
Yeah,
what I know. That's what I know. So to
gotcha.
like go and get the book and get the sprayed edge and to like film doing it, I knew that I've never done that on my channel. So I was like, I'm not gonna start now. I'm not gonna read something just
Mhm.
because it's popular and I'm not interested in it.
Yeah,
So not a person that's like, oh, it's so popular. I'm not gonna read it. Like things are popular for a reason, you know. I
yeah.
yeah, people's young. So, but
Um, does I do have a
it wasn't my
question
favorite.
because I know there's chronic illness rep in book number one. Does it like keep going? Like the chronic, does she get healed?
No.
Good. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Are you liking it?
I'm loving all of the like release parties at all these bookstores and people are having. I absolutely love that. That's probably the only reason why I feel FOMO about these books right now is not like the fact that I haven't read them yet. I might read them one day when more books are out right now. I hated waiting for all those SJM books to come out. I absolutely hated doing it, even though it was such a thrill to get it, but I would finish it in a day and it would poof go out of my brain.
That's
You
how
know?
because yeah, yes, you.
Yeah, so I love like the camaraderie and like the amazing community that the books have put together.
so
Because
good.
that is fantastic. Like,
That's my favorite part. Because I'm telling you, like, that's how I started monologuing. Because I was like, no. And I literally had to talk to myself, like, you're not going to the bookstore. Because I think the last experience I had of that, and that is interesting. You like the second one. Yeah. At the second one, I was just like, okay, I kind of get it. Do I care enough to continue on? And I just was like, no. I like, if I can tell myself I can watch a recap video, then I'm like, wow. Okay. So this time around, yeah, I was like, I'm just gonna step off here, and that's okay. But what I did miss was like going to the bookstore and seeing the table, seeing everybody super excited. The Target here was great. Target's here
I
was
know.
it was all over the news. Like it just felt like that binding influence and excitement of being a part of a community that's been waiting for a story. Like I loved being part of that with the very first one. I didn't know it was gonna be that big because of help from my friends. I had pre-ordered it. That's the only reason why I got that copy because like Christy was like, oh, they're doing like this promotional thing. If you pre-order it, it's gonna look like this. So that's the only reason why I did it. Like I swear, y'all helped me so much because I wouldn't know. And then with every big release, I start at midnight. I get the audiobook.
Mhm.
I'm waiting for my pre-order to come to
Mhm.
the house. That's how I usually do it. And for Crescent City 3, going to Barnes and Noble to get that copy and like meeting a bunch of girls that I have never talked to online. I didn't know. It was like so much fun. I'm
Yes.
so excited about Crescent City 3. So like going into the bookstore and then like talking about, are you gonna go and get the Target one? How do you feel about the 5 different copies? Like, all this like conversation, but it like brought everybody together. Everybody online is reading it. Like it's fun. I like that element to it.
Mhm.
Hi, baby. Hey,
No,
baby.
don't
Hey,
worry.
guys.
This is not a shot collar, by the way. It just vibrates. Your girl is tired of listening to her bark at everyone and everything. So it'll vibrate. I can click a button, it'll vibrate.
I love that she's anxious. Is that weird to say? It's
No,
like
she's an
her
anxious girl.
personality. Like I kind of
She's an
like
anxious
she's so
girl.
sweet, Like I
Oh
like
no. Then she'll see someone as we're walking and she becomes a devil.
like I like that, like I don't know, because you know how they all have like their own little personalities, and she's just a
Hmm.
sweetie. I'm like, oh, it's okay.
Y'all get to see the sweet side of her. She also eats everything. She's a goat. Like, I keep
I
finding plastic in her mouth. Today I had to get a rubber band, like an actual rubber band out of her mouth. Like, she thinks everything is food. Everything possible.
Oh
So,
my gosh. Mm.
yeah,
A
we're
woman
talking
after
about
my
you.
own heart. She's a foodie. See, I love her. She's so
She's
sweet.
a goat.
She is so sweet.
Yeah.
She's smart too because Ava gave her that button, and I'm like, she keeps
Did
hitting
you
that.
hear it? She pressed it twice, even though
Uh-huh.
I took her out right before we started. I'm like, girl, you don't have to pee. You just want attention.
I want to see the world. I'd be hitting that button too. We need walks and I need more snacks. Stat.
You girl, we live on the third floor. Okay? Mama's tired.
She needs to see the world. I love her. She is too cute. She woke up. Oh my God, come on. You woke up at 2:50 a.m. and ordered your online from Target, call it luck or whatever. You were
Yes, that's what
let's
Jess
see
did from
Kamal's
Honest
gonna do.
Fiction.
I'm not surprised she's alright. Come on, I'm not.
No.
I'm not.
Jess from Honest Fiction did the same thing. I saw it on her story. She was like, okay, I'm going back to bed. But then
Yeah.
she couldn't go. She said she couldn't go back to bed.
That is so funny. That's the way to do it. Like, I'm not at all surprised because you are on it. You are. Oh my God. I know
I
you
know,
have
but
to
that was
like,
a bloodbath. That was a
oh, I know.
bloodbath,
I was,
probably.
yeah, the going out there physically, like you gotta, I don't know. I had fun with that with Crescent City 3. I don't know. I was like, but you know how I get. I was in the mood and like someone said something to me and I just started a whole conversation and that was it.
Yeah. The thing
But
is, for all my new, like very popular new books that come out, I haven't gone to the bookstore and physically bought one ever since I was in high school and Allegiant dropped, like the third Allegiant book. And I had my mom go pick it up in the store while I was at school because your girl was in high school.
that's so cute.
And she had to tell me, like, dude, they were sold out by the time I got there. And I was like, So I always put pre-order on Amazon because I'm scared of that happening again.
I forget what it was. I think, I was so upset. So, like with this one, I pre ordered it months before due to Christy from Christy Reads a Lot. Okay. She got me all the way together. Didn't know it was going to be that popular. I was like literally 70% the way done by the time it was like early enough for me to even go to Walmart. But I was like, oh, my book is coming. Like, and I'm like waiting for my physical copy, waiting for the physical copy. As the day progresses, I'm hearing about like, oh, I can't get this one. Everyone's looking for this one. And I'm like, what's the big deal? Like, I didn't know the book was going to be like that. I did not. I just like, I had the audiobook pre-ordered. I had that, all that set up to go. And then I was like really upset because my book still hadn't come. And so I go to Walmart, I think it was like in the afternoon. And there it is. It's just sitting there with the, I should have bought it. I should have bought one because I know like some of my friends were looking for them later on. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm going to leave it here because my copy's coming. And it didn't come until like the next day. It was all late. I'm like, this is crazy. So I was like, I get nervous with the pre-orders too. Like, is it going to come? Is it going to
Yeah,
be damaged? Like, am I
true.
going to get a misprint? Like all of that. But I typically
Yeah.
do
And I
that
think
pre-order stuff.
now bookstores are more prepared, like, and making sure to buy literally a lot of copies. So I think the next like SJM release, I might go to the store because
Yes.
I want to meet people. I want to have
It was
that.
fun.
Yeah.
It really was. Now I'm one of those, I'm growing into like a different era because like I'm one of those people, it's like hit and miss with me. I typically like to listen to audiobooks, so I'm not that person to like just innocence in public. Like I don't want to be that person that starts a conversation with you because I will. Don't make eye contact with me. And I don't like to be like New York trained me well to like just mind your own business and travel. Not everyone wants to talk to you.
Mhm.
It's weird. And so like
No, I'm
that's
way
a
too
new experience
embarrassing.
for me. And now I'm tunnel vision. I just want to go in, get what I need. Um, but I'm a chatter. I don't know. It's
I
fun and
know.
yeah.
I've always been the like focus on yourself, even when I've heard people like chatting about a book I love. I'm like, oh no, they don't want to talk to me. I think I've been trying to talk to people more, and but I just like when you say something and then you look back later and are like, I shouldn't have fucking said
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah.
Like
Oh,
you know what I mean? Oh my, the last time I tried to talk to someone at a bookstore, these two girls, I think around my age or in their early 20s, whatever, were looking at The Love Hypothesis at a half price books. And I was just like, oh my gosh, yeah, I haven't read that one, but I don't know if I will. And they're like, oh, why? And I was like, well, my friend told me that it can fit her whole boob in his mouth. And they were like, ha ha ha, oh. I
oh,
was
they
like,
just
damn it,
they just
Avery, I should have just not said anything.
are you kidding me? That was good. I was like, I was like, my face is falling because I was like, they weren't mean to you, were they? Because
No, they weren't mean to me, but you could tell they slowly started like walking down the aisle. I was like, oh,
well,
okay,
you
they
don't want
don't
to be
want
friends
to
with them
talk.
anyway. They don't think that that's funny. You know what I mean? Like, come on. Like day to day, calling every day, like that's hilarious. You need somebody that gets it. Like that's funny.
Oh my God.
I don't know what
I
I'm
heard
doing.
that's what I heard Riley say. Riley was like, yeah, he literally puts her whole boob in his mouth.
These are the pertinent details that we need. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like you need somebody that gets it. Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I'll talk to anybody. Like I'll talk to moms in the candle aisle. I get all the details on when they're putting stuff out. Like I'm annoyed. And I recognize
mhm,
that. So I pull back and just, but when I'm in the bookstore on release day, it's just fun. It is
mhm.
so fun to see
I was
everybody.
so jealous of all those releases. There's like girls wearing like those blow up dragon like costumes.
Are you
Have you
kidding me?
seen those?
No, I need to see. I'm trying to watch this. I didn't know things were already up on Macari. Kamal, that's
Oh
crazy.
my gosh.
And they're reselling it for like $150. Listen, and see
Wait,
that's why
reselling what? Like the Target
yeah,
exclusives?
because it's like there's been all this discourse about like exclusive, limited, whatever. It's exclusive to Target. Clearly, it's limited because people who wanted it didn't get it. It's clearly limited because people who wanted it didn't get it. So you can say it's
Hmm.
not limited, but I guess people who wanted it didn't get it. And
I
Yeah, it's
mean,
the whole thing.
would
And
you?
I
Sorry, go on.
oh no, go. I talked over you.
No,
No.
no, no, no. I did. Go.
Well, to me, I had to ask myself, like, I said that I wasn't going to continue. So I'm like, I didn't want to get caught up in the hype and just go get it. Because I could have, I mean, I make friends at the stores. So
You do. You do. You
I
can get anything you want.
yeah, so like I could have made a call and, gotten a book or two. But I was like, no, that's
No.
really performative. I've never read a super hype book that I wasn't interested in just to have it.
Yeah.
Okay, and just to do it. It's just not. I've never done that,
Hmm.
and so I wasn't gonna start. Especially since like
Yeah.
I need to post something up on my channel. I wasn't gonna start out in that kind of energy either this year. And so I'm just excited to see everyone's breakdowns of it. Like I want to know what happens, but I don't. I'm good. I want to see if people like
Yeah.
what's popular, what's the sentiment.
Would you like
Hey,
pick it up if like other? There's gonna be more books in the series, right? It doesn't end here, does it?
I think it doesn't end here, but the thing about it is Christy from Christy Reads a Lot. I don't think that she's reading it, and she's usually my gauge. So I'm just gonna be honest. So she stopped reading after that. I stopped at the second book. So like I think I read further than she did.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so like I was interested in reading book 2, but like so we'll have to see like who's liking it and why. Because
Yeah.
I have certain people for that where I'm like Christie's my go-to in something about October. We're just like inundated with so many releases. And so Christy is a is someone in the community that can get through all of those books.
Yep.
And her Goodreads is Bible. Okay, like I believe
Yes.
my
Yes.
keyboard has her name like locked in. And so I typically will go to Christy from Christy Reads a Lot for that. And if she read it and she liked it, and I also know her little like taglines for things. Like I can tell in her videos if she like and she's going to tell you if she liked it, why she didn't like it, who it could be good for. And so because she's not reading it,
Yeah.
so I'm like, I'm kind of lost there.
Yeah. Because I was wondering. One second. I don't want her to.
I tried and true
Um.
for that.
I might have to click off for a
Oh,
second so I can let her out.
$25. Come on. And they're reselling it.
Girl.
That's a lot. Yeah. And then if it gets signed, bets are off.
Where would you get it? Is she doing signings?
I don't know. But I mean, I got my stuff, and I got like her to sign. I'm like, can I get some plates? Because it's a lot for her to sign too, because of her wrist. So, hopefully the book is good. I hope you're enjoying it. And I guess it's been an hour and we've gone off topic. I don't know. I just like hanging out. I hope you guys don't mind.
Yeah.
I hope you guys don't mind that we went off on tangents just about
I think we talked about everything we needed to. My sister's about to walk into the door anyway.
That's perfect. Yeah. So we hit the elements. And again, we're going to announce February's book. And I'm going to say by Friday.
Yeah, I was about to say, we didn't pick one, Tiffany. You're about to announce it.
We can figure that out like this week. And
Girl, we've both been busy, Kay.
It's been crazy.
Life happens.
This weekend for sure. Friday. We can get some stuff going by Friday. Pick a February.
Maybe we need to pick like a Valentine themed one.
And that would be fun. And it could be alien or monstrous. And a Valentine's themed one would be fun. And if it's on the shorter side, if you guys are down, just let us know in the comments on the replay as well. If it's on the shorter side, if we can do it around Valentine's area time, even if it's like the week after, because we typically will do like the third Friday of every month. My show that I work for has a different schedule this month. So we'll probably be back to a Friday. It'll be on Ava's channel. And I will be sure to
my sister's home.
And stuff. So, but thank you for joining us. Not to like jump off. But yeah, so we will definitely be picking both. Okay, awesome. Oh, that's awesome. Enjoy your book. I hope you enjoy it. I can't wait to hear everybody's thoughts. Like if you're reading it and you enjoy it, please let the world know because I'll be watching it. I just had to I stepped out off the train of this one, but we will let you know sometime this weekend. I'm hoping Friday, when the next live show is going to be, and we'll try to theme it out for you. We'll let you know. But thank you for joining us for our first book club of the year.
Walk out of the store.
Bye.
Bye.
All right.